Welcome to the Think Fresh, Move Forward podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about how to get product made overseas in China and how to demystify that entire process. We're going to talk about how products like this, the Agua Paw, and how it's made overseas. We're also going to give our Shark Tank pitch review of the Agua Paw. Stay tuned.
All right, so talking about overseas manufacturing, okay? Let me ask this, because this is a subject that I have very little knowledge about. There's some inherent concepts that people have about overseas manufacturing, but let me hear from someone who actually does it. Why would someone have things manufactured overseas? Is it just a cost thing? Is it
Well, I mean, it's a multitude of things. Well, first off, it's not even usually a cost thing. It's a locality thing, because most products are not even made here in the United States. And could they even be made in the United States? Basic type stuff now. Back in the day, after World War II, U.S. was a very manufacturer hub. And over time, they realized as China and these other third world countries started becoming more faster paced develop and start adding more manufacturing, when companies start realizing they could outsource keep costs low. But you have a lot of metal type products made here in the States, very basic, some household good type stuff like building materials. But the vast majority of items, like things that you're wearing, textiles, are either made in China, Vietnam, could be Pakistan. If you look in the back, most of the time, it's rarely ever says United States. Mm-hmm. The car you drive is either got parts made from China and stuff. But nowadays, it's mostly because you can't get it made here, so you have to go overseas to get it done, because that's just where all the manufacturing plates. Because to set up to set up a manufacturing facility is very expensive. Mm-hmm. So that's the one aspect.
And it's more expensive to initiate that in the States than it is in China, and it already exists in China.
So it already exists in China.
Not just China, but just it already exists.
Yeah, the infrastructure is there. So for example, with Lux Metal Card, those cards are made overseas in China. I looked into getting manufacturing done here. How much would it cost for us to do it ourselves? And the EPA violations that we would probably have to abuse just to get the stuff made, because it's a lot of chemicals. After watching a video of how this stuff is made, it's really cool, but it's a photochemical reaction that causes the etching and all that stuff.
The acid etching and the acids and the bases and everything.
When I saw a video of how not clean that place was, I'm like, I wonder how many violations we would.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
How many cancer-causing materials are probably on that ground? Anyways, our cards don't cause cancer.
This podcast is sponsored by Lux Metal Card.
But that being said, the cost alone, we would have to spend, I think, almost at the time, $850 to over $1 million in infrastructure, and the machines we would need, and then talent to run that machine, and then the cost of materials. The cost of metal from the United States alone is already way more expensive than
we even looked into doing quick metal cards with just a laser etcher and doing it that way.
Very basic
options,
faster.
And that still wasn't cost effective.
Yeah, so shipping, and some people it's ordering from China takes forever. Actually, the shipping from China only takes 4 days when you're doing air freight.
Wow.
So
that's wild.
If you're using DHL, if you're using FedEx or UPS, it might be a little bit longer because they suck for international. But anyways, it's usually when it leaves Shanghai or Ningbo. Those are the two big ports in China. It flies when you use DHL. It's usually to Cincinnati. That's their big hub. And
really?
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati's DHL, because every time you look at DHL tracking, if it's from overseas, every time our stuff arrives, straight shot from there to Cincinnati, and then Cincinnati to Richmond, and then it's delivered. So
really,
4 days.
That's wild. You would think that they would be heading the West Coast first.
No. So again, when it comes to importing product, there's two ways you can ship products from China. So air freight is the fastest, but it's very expensive, because it's our stuff, our tiny packages cost so much money because they're so heavy, because it does by size and weight. And our weight doesn't help in our favor because we're selling metal. Or the other, the most cost-effective way is obviously shipping freighters, so shipping in a shipping container. But that takes time. But it also depends on where the final destination is, where it makes sense. So A lot of times, again, it still leaves 2 ports, Shanghai or Ningbo. That's a little bit more north of in China. And then it gets onto a shipping container. Now, if you do FCL or LCL, LCL means less than container load, and FCL means full container load. It means that is your container. You technically don't own the container, but it's your container. That stuff, it only has your stuff
All
in
your
it.
product.
All your product. LCL means your stuff is packed in with maybe 20 other companies type stuff, because maybe you only ordered 100 things of stuff, but you don't
container
need
size.
Yeah, you don't need a full container.
So that does affect your shipping time, because if it's LCL,
because they need to wait for the other
so
manufacturers to get their stuff inside the container.
They have to pack it, and then once it arrives in port, they have to then pull everything out and then sort out where it needs to go. So it adds it could be like a whole another month sometimes, as far as in timing, because of that. And then if your stuff gets caught in customs, that's a nightmare. So that's LCL. Now, if you do full container, which I've done before, we were getting, for my business Stratos, we were doing a huge amount to where it made sense to do full container, and stuff just came much quicker. So it leaves one of those 2 ports, and it could either go to LA, which most places are trying to avoid now, which we did once.
Why?
Because LA's rules and regulations right now, like if you're an independent contractor as a truck driver, you can't pick up from the port. You have to be a unionized truck driver, which is why there's a truck driver shortage in LA, which is why stuff delayed. It's a self-inflicted issue as far as in LA. But that's more politics.
But basically, it's more expensive because of regulations.
Yes,
is it expensive, or is it also slower?
It's slower, and they literally have these ports are full of shipping containers that can't move out fast enough because they don't have truck drivers.
Oh,
that's why
it's a bottleneck.
It's that they self-cost. But anyway, so
because this is just interesting to hear, because you hear about things like the shipping the ships that are like in queue, and you just kind of like what's actually on the ships, and it's the kind of things like this.
That is the California government.
You want to look at something in conspiracy theories and just look at our shipping lines and look at how our infrastructure is set up. We have companies that ship stuff, the same materials, things that come into port on East Coast, and they ship it to the West Coast, and they deliver it back to the East Coast.
So
even though it came into port on the East Coast, but the company's headquarters belongs on the West Coast, they have to quality assure it and do everything else, and then send it to their customers, even though the actual product ends up in the East Coast.
It is wild how sometimes the costs work out so much so that it makes more sense to send it 2,000 miles than it would.
We did LA once. It made sense. This was back in 2016. I think at the first time we did container, it went through LA, and then they got onto a rail, and from a rail, train to Texas, to a Texas port, and then delivered off there onto a truck to us. So not now, but then after that, all our stuff went through the Panama Canal. It was much more faster and efficient. Wow, we had a spill, and it's causing complete mayhem, and it's unnecessary to have this amount of mayhem for a spill. Anyways, so our stuff would go down to through the Panama Canal, and then it will go into the port of Houston, and then off the boat onto a truck, and then literally the truck would be straight delivered to our warehouse where it was in San Antonio.
So how long have you been shipping stuff?
Well, now with Lux Metal Card, we just do air freight. Because, I mean, if we had a full container load of metal cards, I'd be happy, because that would be well over 1 million cards. But we don't have a 1 million card order yet.
That's
I think the only time we've done freight was when we did that
that was air freight.
That was still air freight. Oh yeah, that was right.
That was $4,000 in shipping.
Now we've
for 25,000 metal
we've
cards.
talked about the actual process. Now what about actually?
So that's just shipping.
Finding the manufacturer and then negotiating and that,
logistics is just one aspect of it, and that I can get even more in depth into that. But that's like the tail end aspect of it. There's many routes you can go. My biggest proponent is do not use FedEx or UPS when it comes to shipping international when it comes to receiving.
Interesting.
Receiving. If you're sending, then that's fine. If it's like we use FedEx for shipping international, but if you're shipping like a massive truckload of stuff, don't use them. Use a logistics company. There's a whole industry upon that where it's like it's just their own truckers and their own systems of logistics all set up for that. But when it comes to finding a product, so the question is, are you designing your own product, or you find a product already made and you're essentially white labeling it, which is the vast majority of what people do when it comes to stuff. Or there's
I see that happen. I see that happening a lot.
Well, that's a whole nother aspect.
That's okay. We had 3. Okay.
I see that happen a whole lot with certain lights in production.
Yeah.
Some like not your top grade lights like your RE lights, but typically around like
your cheaper
your Godox, Flashpoint. That's all the same manufacturer, and they're just like rebranding it, and they're just like shipping it.
They may make depending on the size volume they do. They may ask the manufacturer to make a slight alterations to somewhat make it their own, and then they have their logo engraved or printed on. But at the end of the day, a lot of times it's a copy of 3 or 4 different things. If there is a design patent, they might make an adjustment. Patents don't really work in China. And actually the only way to get a patent in China to be safe is you have to have someone that owns that company that is a Chinese citizen. But even then, that doesn't help in your safety and security. But so there's no point.
No copyright and trademark law in China.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. We're not going to go down that route when it comes to that.
That's interesting. That'd be worth talking about. Maybe
it would.
But that's a whole
YouTube might monetize that. So, but anyways, so like Stratos, that bottle company I had found the manufacturer that made Yeti, Swell, Corsical, and Hydro Flask. There was like 3 manufacturers that pretty much made all insulated tumblers in the world at the time. I'm sure there might be more. And they had a bunch of random size bottles like Swell, like one of those companies that...
yeah, I remember when that was real popular.
They didn't design that bottle.
Yeah.
They essentially just put their logo on it and they killed it in marketing.
Yeah.
That was not some special thing they came up with. That product
Gotta love capitalism.
That product already existed. The same thing with the Yeti tumbler. The Yeti tumbler was not a Yeti invention.
I love that.
You just gotta be first.
It already existed. They had the market cap when it came to the cooler, and they simply added a tumbler and then threw the logo on it.
They were expanding revenue.
And they sold a crap ton. Did they design that? Absolutely not. They say they added like a copper core interior. Cool. You spent 20 cents more on your product, and it does somewhat of a difference. But that's like the higher end thing you can go. But it's not their invention.
Yeah.
Now they have. If you look at Yeti's patents, if you look at Yeti's patents, it's not on the tumbler. It's on the lids. The lids, they have like that special cap, magnetic cap.
Sense.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have a patent on that, and they have
because lids are where tumblers suck.
Yes.
All the time. Lids are what suck. So if you can fix that and then just like use already existing, man.
Their first lids were just the generic lids that came with it, but then eventually over time they threw money into, product development and it came up with a lid that they have a patent on, but they don't have a patent on the shape of the tumbler because you go to Walmart and you find 12 other examples, like Ozark Trails, Walmart's version of it. And I know Yeti tried to sue Walmart. They didn't go very far on that one. So now Yeti was able to put some money down and force other copycats when it came to that because it's just the sheer force. And but at the end of the day, they don't own the rights to that particular design. But anyway, so that's what vast majority of people do. Like products you find on Amazon, it's usually a copycat of something else. Now, if you want to design your own product and then get it manufactured overseas, you need to have essentially either yourself or have an industrial designer, that's the actual term, which is a product designer, to design said product. Have all the specs, the AutoCAD drawings, if it's that type of product. Is there electrical involved? Is there software involved into that component? So like, if you wanted to make a phone, that's a nightmare to get done. Do you have to have multiple manufacturers get together and where one manufacturer makes this part and this person makes that part?
Yeah.
So,
can you speak to that real quick?
Yeah, that's wild.
This is what's interesting about China. I found most interesting. They are so specialized, right, in their different provinces and the way the whole country, the way the whole country's structured, right? This is like why we can never do manufacturing like they do manufacturing. Like the economies of scale that they have,
slave labor.
We will never, ever compete with, right? So when any politician ever says they're going to bring the jobs home in manufacturing, like that's just a bold-faced lie. Because the reality is what they're able to do.
If it's cars, if it's vehicles, they can. That's a different process. For the vast majority of the car, it can be done because it's metal.
Yeah, but for like cameras though.
Yeah, when it comes to the inner workings, like like cameras and maybe LCD screens.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely made overseas. But the actual like Tesla, all that stuff, like the gigapress, that's made here. When it comes to metal manufacturing,
sure,
we do compete on that stage.
And there's a lot of factors in that. There's automation. There's all kinds of things. Even if the factory came back, is it 1 job versus 10 jobs?
Well, that's being automated anyway. So
exactly, right? So there's a whole lot of factors to consider. But what I found the most interesting is that there's specialization, right? So talk about that for a second.
So most of the time when you have a product, there's usually already a manufacturer that makes something similar already. It's just finding that manufacturer that best fits that. Now, if you're designing something new that's never been done before, that's where things get somewhat complicated, where you have to might find 1 or 2 manufacturers where they make a part, and then you go to this manufacturer make a part. Hopefully your specs are to the T, and so when they put things together, they fit. Yeah. But the vast majority of the time, people don't need that. So like for example, when we were at Gather back in 2017, when I had a dedicated desk, there was a guy across me who was an industrial designer, and he worked for a company, I think it was called Tortuga Backpacks. All day was just designing a backpack. That was his job. He loved it. And they sell a crap ton of backpacks, but they had a manufacturer they worked with in China that literally just makes backpacks, not just for Tortuga, but tons of other companies. So finding that specialization, and that's usually textile type stuff, and then they can source all that stuff. But then I remember I had this idea. I wanted to call it like the coolest cooler of backpacks. It was a backpack you could wear that had a cooler, but it would like somehow keep things cool, and had it's pretty much taken I don't know if you guys remember the coolest cooler that had like the speaker built in, and it was taking that idea but put it onto a backpack. But then that was a terrible idea because we heavy as
very heavy batteries and magnets.
Yeah, it was cool in my
head. Definition of wearable tech right there.
It's really what's really
that was
interesting.
Back in 2014. But
something interesting I realized about cameras is like almost every digital camera, this is not across the board, but almost every manufacturer, they're all shooting with the same sensor. Like Panasonic purchases Sony sensors. Sony is obviously using Sony sensors. Nikon is using Sony sensors.
So if you didn't know, 90% of all chips are made in Taiwan. There's one I can't remember the name of the company.
I won't have to mute that city or that country because we might be.
Oh yeah, maybe. But there's only 4 or 5 major semiconductor plants or companies in the world, and the majority of those only make a certain size for your sensors. Because you have different nanometer, you have 10, 7, 12.
I used to work for us.
So I used to work for a semiconductor plant, Global Foundries, up in Albany, New York. And they worked on 10 and 7 nanometers, which are pretty much in phones.
More advanced type stuff.
Pretty much, yeah. So then if you get bigger, you're looking at photosynthetic sensors for cameras and other devices like that. So that's why, because there's so few of them.
Yeah, what's interesting is so Japan is where most of your camera companies
Sony
are operating, but they're basically they're
trying not to spill
having parts manufactured from like a ton of different companies, and all bringing them in and putting them together.
Yep.
And it's just really interesting, like how different things come out. Canon and Ari are like 2 of the companies, and I don't know about Red. I think maybe Red, but I don't know.
Yeah,
but they're the only ones making their own sensors, and it's just very interesting.
The more intricate the device, the less likely everything's done in-house.
Unless you're SpaceX.
But even
they make all their stuff in-house.
Yeah, they make all the stuff. Now, the materials they're buying, though...
The raw material is correct. They have to buy it from somewhere else. They're not mining somewhere. But SpaceX, they are designing and building everything in-house. Their fuel shuttles, their chips...
Well, that's from a liability perspective, probably, right? They own
SpaceX is considered a weapons manufacturer.
That's one aspect, but the other one is cost.
They have to be.
Because they just keep everything in-house. They don't have to go to a third-party vendor. Because remember, like, the more hands you touch, the more expensive something is.
Sure.
There was not to derail this, but there was some conference Elon Musk was speaking at, and someone on stage was asking questions. They're asking the audience questions and asking like, "Why don't you hire more foreigners to work at SpaceX? You must be racist." Blah 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 blah. And he's like, "That's actually further from the truth." Because SpaceX is considered a weapons manufacturer by the United States government because they're sending little rockets into the air. Therefore, they're considered. And as a U.S. contractor or weapons manufacturer, you are not allowed to hire foreigners.
You got to get a certain visa.
Highly specialized visa that has to be approved by like a senator to work at Tesla. Sorry, not Tesla, to work at SpaceX.
Yeah.
Now at Tesla, he has tons of foreigners working at Tesla, but this is at SpaceX. He's just not physically allowed, and he's just obviously can't do that. Now he said he doesn't believe that, but he sees the point. So, but
it ain't his decision.
It's not his decision. That's the U.S. government when you're doing that. So, and the biggest spender towards SpaceX is the U.S. government. So I don't think he's going to mess with that.
I wonder why.
But anyways, so yeah, the more highly specialized the product, the more nightmarish it is going to be for you to design. But most products that people have are usually simple, and most manufacturers overseas, if you could find someone doing that already, can do it for you. And I could show you, Aaron, if you want to bring up Alibaba. Alibaba, when it comes to...
That was my next question. How do you find them?
So when it comes to getting products, Alibaba changed the landscape when it comes to ordering products overseas and finding manufacturers. Because before, you either had to know someone. There was a whole process to getting product in China, and it was a lot of scams going back on in the day. It's like the second you send money overseas, it's gone. You could, even if you accidentally send it to the wrong person, you're never getting it back.
You're not disputing those charges.
You can't dispute it. Yeah. It's impossible.
Because they're all wire transfers, right?
Yeah, it's wire. But now things are a little bit different now when it comes to Alibaba. But Alibaba, Jack Ma, wherever he is at the moment.
We have to probably bleep that out too.
When it comes to creating buyers' confidence into getting product from China, he changed the landscape. He essentially came up with this concept where essentially it's like a portal for manufacturers to meet with purchasers, but he had something called trade assurance, which is essentially insurance for the order. So if you send a product, purchase something on here, if you buy from a trade assurance buyer, which means if somehow the product does not get delivered, you'll get a full refund.
Or damaged, right?
Or if it's not up to spec, as long as everything is spelled out within the conversations here or the contract, that increased buyer confidence. And he was able to do that with these manufacturers because it was able to get an audience. The one thing about the Chinese they're not good at is marketing. They're great at making products, but when it comes to marketing stuff, they're actually not that great.
It's not in their culture.
It's not. It's just not them. There's a few brands that have been able to break through, DJI and Anchor. Oh, yeah, DJI. Those are the only two brands I can think of that have actually done. But again, they also did help hire, Western American marketing agencies to help push that forward. But a lot of times, you don't know of many Chinese brands that are doing very well.
That have broken out of China and actually marketed.
Can you think? Other than Anchor, which is the battery, power banks, and then DJI. Yep. So that is it.
Yep.
So he created that customer confidence between the purchaser and the manufacturer. So think of something. Actually, let's do insulate. So type in the products, Aaron. Insulated tumblers. So you're gonna get. Think of this as almost like a Google search, like an Amazon, but you're buying from manufacturers. So you'll see a lot of specs on here. So let's click on this first one. The insulated tumbler, travel mug. You see how it has some random brand. You can have that. Obviously, you can buy that direct product with that brand and just sell it, or you can have it customized with your logo. It kind of gives you the specs. So from 100 to 10,000 pieces is going to cost you about $2.88. This does not include shipping, by the way. And of course, as you order more, price goes down. You can choose different sizes, different colors. You can, I'm sure, pretty positive you can do customized colors. When it comes to packaging, most of these companies don't do packaging. They use another manufacturer for packaging, and then they source and put together.
This is amazing.
So then you have to contract between two different manufacturers, right? 'Cause that's what you do with Stratus.
You can use them.
Or Alibaba.
Or have it shipped here and then assemble.
But then that's a waste of time.
Right.
Why do that?
Yeah. Especially at that volume.
Then you're paying shipping. Sure. We had a rigid box for the Stratos,
which
means you can't collapse it, which means it takes up the same amount of space as a regular bottle does.
Interesting.
So I'll be paying shipping twice.
Yep.
So, yeah, I could maybe save a little bit more money if I went directly to a package company. But I just went to the manufacturer and said, hey, here's the box template. Can you guys help us? And they did.
And then they'd ship it to the other.
No. They order the packaging. The packaging is sent from there to their waurhouse. And then once it's done, they package it all together.
Right and
I have a product ready to go. Because a lot of times when people order product from China, especially these big manufacturers, they're ordering and telling these shippers to pack it in a way to where it goes directly from the manufacturer right to an Amazon facility where it's immediately shipped to a client. So it usually never touches the company owner's hand. Sometimes small businesses do it that way where they get it, then they'll ship it to an Amazon warehouse. But a lot of times they're shipping directly from the manufacturer straight to a distribution center, which then the customer, that's because the product is ready to go, shipped and packaged in a way where it doesn't have to see another third party.
In the manufacturing facility in China.
So when I had this company, they did all the packaging. You have to describe to them every single detail, like the type of packaging, like do you want a bag? And the first, I remember one order, we just had a bag on it. But then after getting those in, someone told me, was like, do you have any like warning labels on those bags? It's like, oh shit. Because you had to have like, this is a choking hazard and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And so I didn't even think of that. They do that all the time, but they're not going to do it unless you ask them. And of course, it was like a 2 cents more per bag to have that.
So you get rid of the bag altogether?
Yeah, but see, you have to get in that level of detail when it comes to getting stuff done. So you have to be very detail oriented when it comes to this, and cross your T's, dot your I's. Type thing.
Measurements have to be exact, right?
And it's millimeters, not it's a metric system over there.
Metric system, right?
Especially manufacturing, it's always going to be scientific.
Yeah, they look down upon you when you start putting inches. They'll talk to you when you do inches, but a lot of times it's that.
Manufacturing is always done in.
So like for this company, their minimal order is 500 pieces to do a customized logo with customized packaging. Now you can order 100 if you wanted to, but it's going to be with their branding of someone's random company.
Can you talk about trade assurance?
If you go to the right, you see here, this is a verified supplier. So someone from Alibaba went to their warehouse to prove that they are who they are. Can you click on that business name? I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. So this is this company's profile. You could see, scroll down. Actually, go back up.
Great marketing website.
It's like their go-to profile, company overview.
Freshman Media did not design those.
So no, we did not. I would love to take Alibaba as a client. I'll just charge them a shit ton of money. So they're verified supplier. Scroll down. There's trade assurance, and there's a few other verifications they can get. They have pictures of their warehouse in here. Now, if you're not still sold on this, there are companies that you can hire as a third-party inspector to go out to a warehouse over there and give you an entire inspection report. So, Aaron, can you bring up that second link, the quality control? This used to be called Asian Inspect, but then they either got bought out. And I would use them. I used them once to do a before I started sending hundreds of thousands of dollars overseas. I wanted to make sure they were a legit company, even though Alibaba did say they were a legit company. It cost me like $300 just for that quality assurance.
That's definitely better.
A third party, they told me the address. I got the address over to them. I had a representative who was in Canada who I spoke with, who spoke English. Then, of course, they send out their people who are in China. They did an entire factory review. I got like a 64-page document, pictures, everything. This is who your inspector was. This is all the stuff they have. And they kind of give brief overview of the company, kind of stuff you saw on there for $350. I don't know what it is nowadays. I'm probably sure it's a little bit more.
Better than $100,000.
But there's other terms you can set in place to help mitigate risk. So yeah, you might have to spend, what was that order? It was 500, so 500 times 2. It's not that big. But let's say you ordered 50,000 quantity. That's a big chunk of change you got to pay up front. Now, you can set up terms with this company where you could do like a 70-30. So 70, or here's 30% to get the order started, and then 70% upon completion once it passes a PCI inspection report. I forget what that acronym stands for, but there's a certain international standard of a certain number of products that are going to be defective. It's just impossible to get products from China all 100% perfect.
Oh, sure.
It's just never a thing.
Yep.
So I would pay for a pre-shipment inspection. I think I spent like $350 or $400. So after the manufacturing is done, when it's trying to say, hey, stuff is done, I've already paid 30%. I would then have this company go out and do a pre-shipment inspection. I'll tell them what the product is, and they usually already have a list of checklist items like what's the tilt ratio on this, what's the heat temperature rating, fall test, all these other tests that they would take random products from different boxes, take them to the side and do all these tests on them, and then give me a report whether it passed or failed. on it. And if it failed, I would bring the report to the manufacturer. Hey, you guys need to fix this problem, or I'm just not going to pay you. And it's obviously in their best interest to fix it. But them knowing that there is a pre-shipment inspection report is more likely of them to actually make sure they
do the right
thing. They don't cut corners.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, if it's your first order when working with someone in China, most of these companies, the aspect of relationship building is not there. It's like the exact opposite. They're there to make as much money as possible because they're more likely, they think you're never going to come back. They're there just to do one thing one time.
The assumption is it's a one-off order always.
Always.
Right? And then if you order again.
Once you order a ton of times to them, then they like you. Yeah. Then they want to be your friend, and then they're willing to do stuff. The
relationship's better. So it improves over time as long as you're
Yes. Aren't they commission-based?
No. I mean, I don't know how they pay their employees over there.
Fair enough.
But I would do and there was 1 or 2 times where we had a pre-shipment inspection fail, but it was so much there. It's just like, and we were like dying for product because we were sold out. I just approved it anyways, and we dealt with it. And there were pretty much like a few bottles had like a few scratches or something on it, on the powder coating, which is bound to happen, but whatever. So it's getting the this is the second level of assurance you can have. That's a separate company that you can hire. This is one of the companies I used. But yeah, again, Alibaba is a great source. Do you have to use Alibaba? No. You could go direct to China and try to do it that route, and you interview these companies and you do the tour and all that stuff. That's a nightmare worth of, I just don't even want to deal with, especially with COVID restrictions and all that stuff when it comes to China. But I've never been overseas to China, and I've sent well over $1 million over the years to China using simply Alibaba. Drop shipping is the new craze, which actually really doesn't work as much.
It's new.
Well, drop shipping's always been around, but like it, can you bring up type in AliExpress into a new one? AliExpress is like the Amazon for Alibaba. So if you want stuff for cheap, but you're willing to wait like 6 weeks for it to arrive, AliExpress is actually, some of these items are actually
just
from
don't
AliExpress.
buy clothes, and if you do, it's like quadruple X large.
Yeah, they're completely different.
This is from AliExpress. I bought these little trinkets, some of them. That Bitcoin right there is from AliExpress. I spent like, I don't know, 75 cents on this and paid $1 for shipping. And I found the exact same product on Amazon for $30. I was willing to wait 6 weeks because I didn't really care. That came from AliExpress. I think
what about Dwight's dictator photo here?
China.
Yeah, was it?
I kid you not. I kid you not. That took 2 months to get here, but I was in no rush.
The angry penguin display?
That was display. The candle came from Amazon, and then the Ryan Reynolds thing came from Amazon. But that thumbs up button, that's a 3D printed thing from someone on Etsy. So
nice.
Again, I know for a fact that came from China, but I ordered that off Amazon. But this is an AliExpress item because I wasn't going to pay $30, and I'm glad I didn't pay $30 because it's a cheap piece of plastic. So you could type in men's belt. By the way, if you want some really nice belts, and you're not willing to wait for really cheap, so scroll down, select that that one right, yeah.
Hey,
click that one.
I'm wearing this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you paid more than 41 cents.
Yeah, I did.
So drop shipping is a new thing where
That's
people.
That's what I'm wearing right now.
Where essentially people would create a website like on Shopify, use the same exact images, spend money on marketing,
white label it
to get people to buy the product, and all that person would do is then takes that person's information, buy this product, and put their customer's information into AliExpress, and then have AliExpress do the fulfillment. Now, the person gets a product that's with Chinese packaging on it, with Chinese, stuff, and it's like 6 weeks later.
Got like no branding. It's just like, yeah.
So this is, if you're looking just to, this can be a cost-effective way for someone to make money in the product business without having to buy inventory. But again, you are not going to have as much a great customer service experience because your product is taking 4 weeks to get here when someone's so used to Amazon. So the way people got away around this is they say the products are free, just pay for shipping. So the shipping cost more than the product. So it's like $15 for the product, but the product is $2 from their cost. And the person's like, oh my God, I'm getting a great deal. I'm getting a free product, but I'm only paying $15. No, you're an idiot. You just don't know any better.
Product's free, but you have to pay for handling.
that doesn't happen as much anymore because that craze is gone. People caught on. But there's been plenty of items I found on Facebook. They had a brilliant marketing video for them. Like, man, that's cool. Actually, I bought this that machine you saw where I made the blunts as far as where it grinds up and it falls into the thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Facebook, I saw a video for it. It was $150. I'm like, I'm not paying that. And I typed the description into AliExpress, and I found it on here for $20. And I was like, sold. I was willing to wait. Yeah. So this is one way someone can get into the product business without having a ton of money if they wanted to sell products. And honestly, this is the easiest way. You just create a website, do your marketing, and then get people to buy. But where the money is made in products is obviously buying inventory and having it there, but then there's more risk involved because you have money to set aside at inventory.
Yeah, the first way you described is higher risk.
It's what most people do.
But
most businesses.
It's how you could build a brand that lasts.
Correct.
Right?
But again, most products again are all made by one or two or three the same manufacturing facility, just depending on what type of product it is, whether it's electronics,
plastic or metal,
skateboards, or plastic. Like the Container Store, like all that stuff's made overseas in China. And there's literally manufacturing place that literally all they do all day is just make containers, but they have the infrastructure to do
specialized,
highly specialized. Socks, look, a penny for a sock. I guarantee you the shipping is probably like 50 to 60 cents. Now apparently the Chinese government and the U.S. government has something when it comes to USPS and shipping. The reason why shipping is so cheap and it takes so long is they have like these huge containers that are just like some sort of trade agreement where they just throw all these packages into the big container and they ship it here for so cheap. And that's how you're able to get away. Because the vast majority of the time you couldn't order, like to send something here in the U.S. costs more than if I were to mail you something, it would probably cost me $15 to send to you. Versus I can order something for China the same size for cheaper. Like
That's wild.
Why?
So the ship time. So anything coming from AliExpress has long ship times.
Oh yeah.
Vast majority of time it's coming on a container.
4 to 6 weeks.
It's a massive container of all those products that are very similar, like this. And there's tens of thousands of other items or individually packed items that arrive at USPS warehouse and then gets distributed. When it comes to
probably fragile products wouldn't do well in that kind of environment. Right?
Like when we ordered our office furniture for when we moved upstairs for the first time, all the office furniture I ordered from China. I found a furniture maker because office furniture
has the highest markups of anything.
Is such a really my dude.
Besides home theater.
Yeah.
That 4-person desk, you know how much that cost?
Nope.
From if I didn't order from China?
Nope.
Do you want to make a guess how much that would cost?
Thousands.
$5,000.
Oh my God.
You know what I paid for it?
What'd you?
$500.
Yeah, the markup's insane.
Granted,
because
the instructions,
a lot of people,
the instructions,
one page. I remember that one page, and it was just like arrows, like
That's
no description.
It was one page, and it had 4 pictures,
Yep.
right? And it said this, and you're ready. Right?
And that was it.
And then
it was like
it was by far.
like 90 pieces.
Here's the other thing: it didn't even have the products. The products weren't labeled. Right?
Like IKEA.
So we actually had to measure all of the products.
We had to reverse engineer some stuff.
Yeah, we had to measure. We got tape measures, right? But they're all standard, right? So we had to measure all the products, convert it to metric, then look at this grid, this list of all the products that were in the package, and then find the one that fit the right dimensions and say, oh, that's that one.
And then all the hardware
and then
came
look at
in
this
one
little
big bag.
1/8 of an inch of the photo.
But
and
that's
say, that's
not
go
worth
there.
$4,500 to get that
No. It was worth it. I mean, we still
at the time
we've got our money's worth out of that desk.
Yeah,
definitely.
at the time, again, when you're a new business and bootstrapping stuff, but you want furniture that matches, like in a marketing company, you just want things that match and didn't look like you went to Goodwill to have an office. No offense, again. I'm not bashing any business that has to do that. I'm just saying when you're trying to create a presence of a marketing agency that's established, you kind of have to look the part. So
and you need chairs that match. You need desks that match. But the problem is that if you go to a commercial furniture provider and buy new office furniture, it's insane.
They rip you off.
Now I will say this is not that kind of conversation, but there are some opportunities for when companies downsize office space or whatever, they have big sales of all of their their call center. They just cut a call center out, and they now have all these desks and everything, and you can find those, and those have value, but it's still being marked up significantly, right? We were going right to the source.
I mean, they gotta get their money back somehow.
Now, we did pay a ton of money in shipping. I think we paid like $3K in shipping costs, but we still saved tens of thousands of dollars by going that route.
Yeah, $3K total, like with all the stuff we got, the desks. We had, I don't know,
chairs, then the glass tables. That was, and actually, I used a third-party logistics company to bring the stuff. And when they came to pick up the stuff, the Chinese manufacturer had put these glass tables in cardboard, and they're like, no, we're not accepting that, because the second this gets on the truck, it's going to shatter in a million pieces. There's no way this is going to arrive intact. And they made them create custom crates for it. Then they accept that. That's when you have a logistics company that has your back.
Yeah.
So when it comes to shipping, so let's say you go back to Alibaba.
Who were you using, DHL?
No, I was using a company called Blue Logistics, BLU. Actually, and I actually don't think they operate in the U.S. anymore. Office-wise, they're still a huge company. Anyways, go back to Alibaba. Go to the So let's say you make a deal with this said company. You can use them to source logistics for you. Again, they're going to add a markup to it. It's still going to be cheaper than UPS or FedEx. Alibaba does have a let's see. Go to help. Actually, go to Buyer Central. They may have moved stuff around. Logistics service. Yeah, here it is. So this is where you can get shipping quotes. So once you've placed an order, Alibaba essentially is acting like the logistics company for you, and then they get to do that. So this is one other aspect you could do. You could use their system and compare rates and see how much it costs, or you can use UPS or FedEx if you wanted to, or DHL. It's just connecting the manufacturer with the shipping company when you don't speak Chinese is a nightmare. Get someone else to do it. Don't try to penny pinch on these things. Either have Alibaba do it or have the manufacturer do it. You just have a little more risk if the manufacturer do it. But
it's a way to avoid a lot of horror stories.
Yeah, and I've dealt with horror stories even having a logistics company. Or like the U.S. like our stuff arrives and we have a surprise inspection for our shipping container, and we're beholden to the U.S. Customs Office, which can make or break your business. So that's the second, the most if one part to your business that can make or break when it comes to ordering something online. But don't try to penny pinch on this process. That could screw your business, especially if all your product arrives damaged, and then you have all this product that you don't know what to do with. And then you can't really do net terms when it comes to these manufacturers unless you've established and you're ordering millions upon millions of dollars of this stuff. Like, I'm pretty confident Apple and Foxconn do net terms, but the average person doesn't. I tried to do that once and no. There's ways you can do that where it arrives in port and technically the Chinese manufacturer owns that product even as it arrives in port. Then you pay them, then they release the product to you. That's one thing that can happen, but usually smaller companies don't have that luxury. So that's a base example of getting a product made. Alibaba's a great source. There's other sites like Alibaba for other countries. I just don't know them because I've never really used stuff from Vietnam. Like, certain countries are good at certain things. Like when it comes to textiles, Vietnam and the Philippines are technically better and more cost effective than China.
Yep.
Again, it really depends, and this is a person where they need to do their due diligence on ordering product. So that's a crash course.
There you go.
Very, very good.
That's amazing. This has been amazing.
Find an idea, go to Alibaba, find a manufacturer, ship it over using DHL, and then have a CRM to fulfill orders.
And logistics to make sure that everything is done correctly.
Q&A process.
When I did this, when I first started, it was back in 2014, there was no YouTube video or book on how to do this. I met with a guy
Here's a question.
Real quick. The way I learned this is I met a guy at there was this networking group on Meetup called Vine, not the app, but it's called Virginia Innovators Network something. It was just a bunch of people who wanted to become inventors, and they would do like a monthly meeting, and they would have like people come and speak who were like inventors, who like, this is the process they did. I met one guy who's here in Richmond. He has a few products he invented, but like, those paint triangles that you buy to, prop stuff up on. The guy who invented that is here in Richmond. It made him a few $100,000, but not millions of dollars because they're so cheap. But he explained the whole process to me as far as what to do, what not to do. He's the one who connected with the logistics company, and that cleared a lot of things. So it was mostly me just networking to get questions answered, and then what information I could find on YouTube at the time. But there was no how-to book. Now I'm pretty confident. You go on YouTube, there's 500 other videos on.
They're probably all going to be like drop shipping though.
Or here's how do you do it. Buy my course on how to drop ship.
Yeah. It's only $1,000.
It's only $1,000.
Mark down.
But it's worth $5,000. Right?
And the price for it is $5,000. We're going to mark it down. So the question is during your infant process or the stage, did you lose any money at all dealing with China?
No.
Good.
I made it my goal and effort not to look, because when you're dealing, again, the scariest moment I've ever had when it comes to running a business was when I think the largest wire transaction I did was $125,000. I remember going to Wells Fargo and sitting, because when you're doing wire transfers of that large, you don't do it from your computer. You go in, you have to fill all this documentation. I have everything printed out, we quadruple check the account number, all this other stuff, because it was being wired overseas to China. Because then when you wire something overseas to China, it does not go from here. Doesn't go from like Wells Fargo to China. It goes from, like, at the time we were at Wells Fargo, it was from Wells Fargo to the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve approves it. The Federal Reserve then sends it. So you send the money to the Federal Reserve, or at least the bank does, and then they send it. Wow. That's how all wire transactions work. Nothing's ever sent directly, unless it's crypto, sent directly to
international entity.
It always goes through the Federal Reserve. Then the Federal Reserve, that's where they control you. Yeah. It's not a conspiracy. That is a proven fact. But nowadays, though, Alibaba has a presence in the U.S., so when you don't have to technically wire money anymore overseas to China. You do a bank wire. It goes to the Alibaba bank in the U.S., and then they deal with everything else on their end. So you don't have to worry about international bank wire fees.
So they're serving as like escrow now. Like
that's
they're
new.
The in-between.
Nice.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so Alibaba will then pay the manufacturer once they fulfill the order.
Which is why you get the trade assurance and that kind of thing.
Alibaba holds the money.
Yeah.
Once the order is complete. And I think they do give them some portion of the money.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying some fees for that, obviously, but there's certainly a lot less risk.
Alibaba is so big, it's in the manufacturer's best interest not to screw a customer. Granted, there are scams on Alibaba, but you can get thing is never pay over WhatsApp or communicate over WhatsApp. I avoid that all entirely, or accept any sort of. I just avoid. Always
communicate through the platform.
Now, I do communicate sometimes through email. Or
Zoom, right?
No, Zoom's. Skype. There's a few programs that I'm not allowed to try to because, the Chinese firewall. Man, this video's going to be, we're not monetized anyway, so don't have to worry about that. When it comes to communicating, it's best to communicate through the messaging platform, because if you ever have to dispute something, Alibaba can go through and read and see what happened.
What about Telegram?
You can do that, but again, when it comes to
use it on the platform you're dealing with.
You stay on here as much as possible. There's a few times where I've gotten a proof where the video file is so large, and to review something, they'll send it to me in the email. Like I got a WeTransfer file, or I send stuff because it's too big. I have to use WeTransfer to send videos over for something. The vast majority of the time, the communication's on that, and I pay through Alibaba. I don't pay the manufacturer ever directly. I never have and never will. Even if they say offer me a cheaper price, I don't care. Because the second that money's gone, it's not like a credit card transaction. I mean, even
no insurance on that.
Yeah, even if you do pay with a credit card, it goes overseas. More than likely, since it's international, the bank is not, because you approve. A lot of times, you have to physically approve until the bank. You can't dispute that charge. The largest credit card dispute I ever done was $60,000, but that was with the U.S. That was that GPU nightmare I had back in 20 with
pissed me off.
Anyways, I had to go in the bank for that one too, but I got it all back, so we're all good. So always do it through this company if you're going to use them, and just do your best to communicate when it comes to that through their platform. And the platform is pretty robust. It's not confusing at all.
This has been extremely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been quiet.
I'm about to start a business.
I don't reckon.
And it might be interesting.
I'm about to start a business.
If you ever do major production, it might actually be worth it to use something like that if you're buying a lot. Besides renting, obviously, if you start like building your own studio,
like
I guarantee
Peter McKinnon, right? The YouTuber, big photographer. He just came out with like some sort of like tool, almost like a not like a hex key, but like
I saw it's got an SD thing on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. Guarantee you, it's from some manufacturer you could easily find. Eventually, probably within the next year or so, you'll be able to find that product on here on Alibaba. If he sells a crap ton of that product, more than likely that manufacturer is going to realize that, and then they're going to start their secondary version of that unbranded and sell it to other people. That's just how it works when it comes to.
I love people.
Well,
I love people.
Welcome to China. So that's just how it's done over there. There's no concept of ownership when it comes to or branding over there. You always find something fake or a copy of it. But again, he went through and he probably had an industrial designer that designed that, took his idea, and then they did samples, and you do sample productions. That usually costs a ton of money. And then once you've perfected that sample, then you go to mass production, and then you're good to go. So it can work, but again, a product business you can make a ton of money in, but you can also lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's a very risky business, especially you don't have I would say the outreach or the distribution. That was the word. The distribution model. Like if you're not like to get in retail stores, that's a nightmare on its own. So it's every hurdle thing. Everything's against you when you're starting a product. Not saying to discourage anyone, but everything is technically against you versus a service-based business where you're just like you are physically the work versus a product type business.
Yeah, because your inventory counts as income if it's not sold.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is once you buy
from a tax
product,
perspective, it sucks.
So let's say you get $1 million and you spend $500,000 on inventory, you can't deduct it from your taxes until it's sold because it's considered an asset. So,
would you ever do an inventory-based or product-based company ever again?
Inventory-based?
Like a whole storage unit of.
Probably depends on the amount of inventory that would be required.
Oh yeah.
So, the biggest stress I ever had in my life was with Stratos when dealing with inventory, because there's two. You can either have enough inventory and it doesn't sell, and then you're kind of screwed, or your product is so popular and you sell so much out of it, and you have so much demand, and you can't fulfill orders.
Yep.
You're gonna have pissed off customers. You can
money.
never make anything happen, and then you're losing money, and you lose trust, and then all this other stuff. So that's
the good fortune about Lux Metal Card is that it's custom.
Yeah, right? I found a manufacturer separately from this, and I deal with the manufacturer directly when it comes to working with them, but that's all custom made to orders type stuff.
Yep.
But when it comes to
having inventory, it's
to answer your question, it would have to be something I'm really bought into.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that's established.
You would probably have an assistant at this point and somebody else to admin to take care of the majority of it.
I'm not going to personally start one.
Yeah.
If someone comes to me and has a product already, and I'm bought in and I believe it and I had to invest into it, then yes. But if it's me managing it, absolutely, I have no desire to ever do that again.
Yeah, it's too much legwork and it's not enough reward. Yeah.
It can be because those companies do sell for a ton of money if you have the sales volume to go with it.
Well, I think this conversation will be illuminating, especially with Shark Tank and our Shark Tank segment that we do every week, right?
Yeah, if you realize most Shark Tank products are product type. There's
exactly
not many,
what we're talking about here.
Yeah. There's not many service-based, like you don't see a plumber going on there like, I've dominated the Richmond market. I'm trying to expand to, Charlottesville, Virginia.
Because the Sharks are looking for something that can scale and go national.
Yes.
Right, across all different markets.
Yeah, you can.
That's the quickest ROI.
You could do that with, a software business. But again, you don't see many software businesses on Shark Tank.
There are some, though.
Yeah, there are some.
But it's rare.
Or it's a conjunction, like it's software and a product together, like the Ring camera.
Ring, yep.
And that's what sells. In software, you can make 10x your total investment when it comes to that. But if we want to get into our Shark Tank segment,
what do we have?
This is called the Aqua Paw. I have personally not used this product. It's I have a dog. Product? It is a pet product, and there's an insane amount of junk pet product. I mean, you walk into Petco, PetSmart.
Oh yeah.
A prime example of what I was just talking about, how there's copycats. Walk into Petco or PetSmart, and you will see what exactly with like all these toys. It's and I believe they do kind of go into this a bit. It's just an oversaturated market. Now, I do have a 130, just people listening, I do have a 130-pound German Shepherd, and if this product says what, because I'm going to test this out. I didn't want to test it and bring it here and have it just like smell like dog.
Yeah, it's your TikTok.
German Cheddar, as the correct term goes. If this works well, I'll be an advocate for it. So, all right, Aaron, if you want to go ahead and play it.
I love the music every time.
This guy's got the power triangle going.
The trust triangle. Used to do that at Best
Mr.
Buy.
Wonderful is not here.
Which one is it this time?
Do you have the product?
I do.
Yeah.
Hi, Sharks. I'm Daniel Lentz. This is Tom Ziprian, and we're here from San Jose, California, to present Aqua Paw. We're seeking $200,000 of investment in exchange for 7.5% of our company. Now imagine you're a player here. You go out for a nice hike. You're
it's a $3-4 million valuation.
Everything imaginable. You get home, you see your favorite person in the world. They take one look at you and say, "Whoa, you're not coming to the house looking like that. You're a mess." So they grab you by the collar, take you out back, and blast you down with ice.
That dog is nervous.
Oh, the betrayal. No wonder they hate it.
They get an episode where he buys something.
Every time we try to bathe them. Well, we have designed a revolutionary pet bathing tool that not only makes multitasking easier for you, but it also makes bath time easier on your pet, and it's called the Aqua Paw Bathing Tool. Our combination sprayer scrubber attaches
it's definitely changed.
with a one-size-fits-all strap. It's slim and flexible, giving you use of both hands to control your dog.
When it's come out.
The best part.
That was a little bit larger.
The size changed.
Looks bigger.
Oh, shape, I mean.
So let's see it.
Oh wow, you can like turn it on, turn it off. The little.
Can I pause it real quick,
yeah.
Aaron? So the difference between it now and it on the video is in the video the buttons in the middle, which I can see how that would, but now it's actually they had an industrial designer design something. Yeah. It's now here, so it's a lot more. This is way more effective in my opinion than what I'm seeing here on the screen. Oh my God, this is actually pretty fucking cool. Oh, gotta bleep out that word. Too bad Aaron's not fast enough for the. We do have a bleep button on there somewhere.
You get the radio 10-second doomsday button.
Yeah.
You just need to set the delay in OBS.
Don't tell Aaron that. Yeah. He'll overuse it.
Yeah. Beep. All right, go ahead.
And for that reason, it's injected deep into the densest of fur. And then once you have soap on your pet, it's also a scrubber.
Yeah, the problem is my dog will try to eat this thing while water's coming out of it.
Every unit comes with adapters for both the garden hose and the shower, making it easier for you to save time, reduce the mess, and eliminate the stress involved with bath time for both you and your pet. So what do you say?
Is there an adapter for your shower?
It's a horrible idea when you have a German Shepherd.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, there's a three-way.
So I've got some samples for you guys, and then afterwards, you're welcome to come up and try it out.
I've licked a cat on the show. I'll bathe the dog.
Jeez.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, there's a product that's like a cat grooming thing. You put it in your mouth, and like you're like licking the cat.
Oh.
Okay. We'll definitely review that product.
You're gonna pull this strap tight. Okay. And then press it all the way down.
That little golden retriever's so nervous right now. He's like, "What's going on?" Getting it in its face.
That dog looks nervous as heck.
Oh yeah, get it out of its ears. What are you doing?
Very well behaved.
Mark Cuban's just whatever. He's gonna buy it this time.
Cute. It's cool.
He never buys anything.
It's really easy to use.
What are your retail costs?
He's in cybersecurity, so he's
$24.99.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a good price.
Yeah. Where are you selling these now?
Right now, we're selling direct to consumer through our website, and then we also have a retail partner called Uncommon Goods.
Oh, I know Uncommon Goods.
She's gonna buy it.
What do you sell it to wholesale for?
$12.50.
$12.50. And what does it cost you to make?
$5.25.
All right, hit pause.
25.
So if you always notice, so if you always want to figure out what a cost is for a product, like a true cost, there's always a 50% markup. So it's, you saw it was $24.99. Wholesale cost is $12.50. So that's the bare minimum they'll sell to. So like a store, Petco, they'll sell it to Petco for $12.50. Their cost is $5 or $6, give or take. So they make a bare minimum 50% on a wholesale. Now, if they sell retail, of course, they have that huge markup. But then they're spending money on advertising. So it's just which route. But at the end of the day, just go by that third port. So half and then half of that is usually what that cost is. Usually, because it's not, if you're not making 50%. Now, there's a few products where the margin is not like that. Like Apple products. I believe their margins. I think they probably make 20 to 30%, but it's a different type of product. It's usually way more expensive. Like you're spending, over like $4,000 on a fully loaded MacBook Pro.
Yep.
But anyways, just wanted to give that reference.
Slower can you get it?
We think easily we get down to 450.
Okay.
What are your sales?
Into last year, we did a Kickstarter. It was a successful campaign. We've been taking pre-orders for the past 9 months.
How much was your goal?
Our campaign was 42,000, and we hit our goal.
Have you done any other sales?
We sold about 200K.
Have you talked to Petco?
We've spoken to Petco. We've spoken to PetSmart. We've spoken to a lot of big guys, and feedback was great. I think right now they're sort of waiting to see because we just started delivering.
Dan, why is it worth $3 million? You're asking $200,000 for 7.5%.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, up to this point, 200K in sales.
Well, it depends on the answer.
200K in sales in 8 months. That has been with no advertising at all, and with only one modestly sized retailer. Next year, we're going to dump money into advertising. We're going to blow up our Facebook sales. We're going to expand, hopefully pick up another 2 or 3 retail partners.
Why are you having why are you giving us the valuation of hopefully if everything goes perfect? You may get into a fight with your manufacturer, get knocked off, your prices may be compressioned or diverted.
You mentioned about it getting knocked off. We have filed a utility patent. It's currently under review, and we filed a PCT.
I'd like to say a couple more things. I think somebody can see the brand, they can see the product.
Mostly useless.
The potential to create a whole ecosystem of items, right?
Well, okay, so
Good logo.
the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of great ideas on how to do it, but you incorporate soap dispensation into the product. Then also there's smaller low-hanging fruit like strainers, tethers, towels.
I have a question. I've seen things out there that are scrubbers with, water that comes through, brushes with water.
Okay, so there's a lot of different people in this category, but there's no mechanism where you can actually turn it on and off with one hand. I think that's the big point that separates us.
They
is because
changed
you
that.
never have to reach for anything.
No one else came out with an on-off toggle on the hand.
No, there's nothing like this out there.
That's a great lesson. Sometimes the simplest remixes.
I always
How
say
will
that,
you get that message across?
Yeah, the original one has it in the center.
Has to look at this.
I got it, though. I usually never get it. When I sat here, I got the whole thing. There's a button in the middle, and to me, it makes
This
sense.
is much easier to hit.
And you need more dog on that packaging.
Absolutely.
More dog. Did they put more
She's
dog
got a
on
point. There's no.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
the dog on
they
there.
definitely fixed that here.
Yep. In the pet industry, we've learned a lot in the last few years. Love dogs, but I cannot get to the $3 million.
Oh my God.
I'll give you the 200,000.
Okay, I thought he was about to be like, I'm out. I'm like, are you broke or something?
Wow,
Why are you
he-
still in
he
the show?
bid on something.
Well,
Finally,
25%.
he went from pause it.
That's the offer from me.
So they
So
originally
what-
wanted 200K for 7.5%, which means they gave themselves like a $3 to $4 million evaluation, which they have a point. It's not technically worth that because they haven't made the sales. So they're just come with some arbitrary number,
projecting,
which usually doesn't work well in your favor. That's why they coming back. All right, I'll give you 200K for 25%.
It's
of your
evaluating
company.
at $1 million.
So
give or
he's
take.
evaluating
Which-
it basically at a third
Yeah.
of what they were
Which
asking.
is actually kind of generous because they only have done 200K in 8 months. So that's a huge risk he's taking. So go ahead.
But I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I feel like this is a very crowded space. I kind of like when things are a little bit more unique. And so for that reason, I'm out.
Finally.
That's
Sorry to
unfortunate.
hear that, Lori.
Sorry.
Guys, I'm being brutally candid. I hate the pet accessory business. There's always an idea. There's always somebody else to do it.
They're gonna have to
think
go
what
with
you've done
Robert, I
is
think.
Phenomenal, but somebody's going to come up with something a
What's
little
his
bit
name? I
better.
don't remember.
Damon?
Damon John.
Damon.
That's just the nature of the pet accessory business. So for those reasons, I'm out.
Thanks, Mark.
You haven't heard from Damon, who
Yeah, we'd love to hear you.
actually is Mr. Petco.
Yeah, I'm on the board for the Petco Foundation. Mark brings up a good point. The pet industry is really a challenging industry for a couple of reasons. People who are habitual, they'll spend anything on their pet, but to getting them educated that something like this exists is extremely, extremely hard. So to value your company at that much, it's challenging for me to go help you. I don't want to insult you, but I know the amount of work this is going to be. I will give you the $200,000 for 30%.
Ooh, you're going the wrong way.
I'm
You're not
no,
shy.
I'm up.
Okay.
Okay, I have 2 dogs, Biggie and Smalls,
Oh.
that are from the same litter, but they're 10 pounds apart. So I'm a very
The
big
amount that
dog
I don't
person.
care about the names of our
And I've
dogs.
been- thank you. Good.
Is there an offer
So
coming?
I've
Or-
been. I'm here to entertain you. Listen,
This is-
listen.
Showtime Entertainment.
Drone on for hours. So it's my turn, sunshine.
Talk to the hand.
Hi. When you're about to offer people money, you could take a little longer. 200,000 for 30%, but I will be involved, with my face in the advertising, and it would be contingent that Biggie and Smalls have to be on the package that you
I think we could accommodate that. Okay.
Wow.
Is that Biggie or Smalls?
I doubt it.
All she cares about with Robert. They're going with Robert.
The other way too. Just to make it even, you didn't take my offer right away.
It's all of us
I'll
same
do
offer.
the 200,000 at 30%.
Oh, he increased.
Oh no.
Wow.
Guys, you have 3 offers that are identical. You can counter. You can say yes or no.
What about all 3? 10% each.
Sounds like a nightmare. Three.
Yeah, no, 3 would be overkill, but 2 sometimes has value.
Yeah, they've done that before.
Yep.
Tom and Daniel have the same offer from Robert, Bethany, and Damon. $200,000 for 30% of their.
I don't think these sharks really care if they get it or not. They're not.
The equity ask
They're like,
is a little high. Damon mentioned all of his Petco experience. Bethany, Robert, do you guys have any sort of connections with retailers that you can expedite this process for us?
Actually, hang on a sec, Tom. I'm going to go get my resume, and maybe you can have a look at it.
What
are you talking about?
You probably want that.
Yeah, I'm
You probably
Kroger,
want
Come on.
Amazon, Jet, we're all,
9 seasons, we sold a lot of pet stuff.
All right, here's what I have to say, and maybe this can help you. I do have a lot of connection and experience there, but to be very honest, I wouldn't be a spokesperson. I'd be the back office. I'll be the one who talks to the buyers and help you get there. But if you believe that you have an offer by somebody here who will save you thousands or maybe millions of dollars worth of advertising exposure, and that's what you need, I'm not going to be selfish and tell you that I'm going to do that.
I run a pretty big cybersecurity business. I have a full-time job.
Oh,
we're here to help you.
Oh,
No. If Bethany has the
Bring your dog's names back up.
Aaron is a little salty on this
Oh
one.
man, grilling right now. He's over the TV show. He's like, just get to the offers. Let's go.
yeah, which is worth a lot of money, that I will say.
So, guys, we believe that all of you offer value.
The TV
of
show,
different
Eric.
sorts. We'd like to counter to see if maybe Bethany, with your connections in social media, and Damon, with your back office and Petco experience, you guys consider joining up. 200,000 for
Robert's
20,
like-
so 100,000 for 10, and 100,000 for 10.
Whoa, dude, if you're getting...
And Robert's insulted.
I can't even speak for Damon yet, but if you're getting both of us, definitely the 30% is not off the table for me.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that we were going to get 60%.
Tom, listen, I'm out. You didn't include me in that. I get it.
Oof.
The prettiest one of all of us.
Well, I don't want to be pretty. I just like being rich, so...
Okay.
Wow.
I'd like to be both.
Sorry to hear that, Robert. Thanks, Robert.
So, Daniel and Tom, things are going in the wrong direction.
Who's the richest on that board? Cuban?
I just got
Or
to
Mi-
point that out.
I would say Cuban out of all of
And
them.
then Mr. Wonderful's.
I would say Mr. Wonderful's up there.
I joined offer at 25%.
And Damon's up there too.
You waited.
I think we would counter and say, David, would you come down to 200 for 20?
Now I'm out.
Ooh.
Sorry to hear that, Bethany.
No one cares.
Ooh.
30 is my final offer, guys.
Wow.
Love the music. You're over the music right now.
Oh.
Love the music.
That was my final
He's just not having any of it. Yep, that's it. 30% no. Walk away.
Walk away.
Okay, Damon, I'm sorry to say we cannot accept that offer.
Okay. Well, I wish you all the best, guys.
All the best, guys.
Thank you so
Congrats
much.
on your
Thank you
business.
very much. Appreciate your time.
He almost came down. You could see at the very end there, but he was like,
I don't think. I think he was more shocked than anything. He's like,
yeah.
oh,
Too much.
okay.
Just weren't willing to part with it this time.
So what are they worth now?
So that being said, I think it's mostly due to the success of the show. When you can go on the show. Hey, can you pause? The fact, I think someone did a study. Going on to Shark Tank is almost about the same as spending $1 million on advertising.
Wow.
So there's a lot of products that have become successful who didn't get a deal. Now I did some research on them. If you want to bring up the website, I think they do 3 to 4 million in sales now every year. I mean,
they got to get that text to show.
I like how they're right here, as seen on Shark Tank.
Yeah, again, they're playing into that heavy.
Yeah.
So
we said no. We did it on our own.
Now, I get I think these business owners are a little too cocky, in my opinion, when it comes to their valuation. Oh my God, that is so smart.
Is a smart idea.
Wow, I need to buy that. I don't know if you guys have a dog that just does not let you clean or pay attention or just want to play. That is genius.
There's videos of people putting saran wrap on their head and then putting peanut butter on their forehead.
Yeah, I'm never doing that.
It would work too. Nice.
I know it would work, but it's just I look like an idiot. I think they're a little too cocky. I mean, good for them for going on the show and making the pitch.
Well, and I wonder if they found another partner that's
maybe
are they in Petco or PetSmart right now?
I don't know. I bought this off Amazon.
Yeah.
So I've been to Petco and I've never seen this in Petco store. Well, actually, if they were in Petco, it would literally be on here. So you could buy it at the Ace hardware store, and then
depending on Ace is a Ace is a franchise.
Well, Ace is like there's a lot of like small. I don't know if you know a lot of small time counties that Ace is like.
No, that's true.
Like your go-to, like almost like a Walmart. No food, but like type stuff.
Actually, Ace isn't a franchise. Ace is something different. Remember what Ace is?
Well, they've definitely got some product differentiation on here. That's pretty solid, like accessories and all kinds of stuff. So
a slow treater.
So the question is,
washing.
All right, well, you're going to test it out and let us know.
I'm going to test it out. I would say
TikTok. Find us on TikTok.
The fact they are doing 3 to 4 million a year is pretty. Oh wait, go down. Oh, what happened to the other guy?
I don't know.
Ooh.
Creative differences.
So actually, go back down.
Founder.
I think his price sits there, but go back up. So if you hear I said they must have hired an industrial designer. He himself is a professional industrial designer.
Yeah.
So he designed
saved some money.
So he saved quite a bit of money for that. Go back up real quick.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he went on. All right, now to wrap up this podcast, we have our meme. This is a meme video.
Oh, a little GIF?
So it's not a GIF. It's got sound to it. Everyone on here has bought something or attempted to buy something on Facebook Marketplace. This is a conversation. This guy turned a conversation from Messenger on Facebook Marketplace into a song, and I think I want more of it.
I love this guy. Yeah. I already know who this is.
Yes, I know exactly.
Have you seen this video?
His name is Lebelin.
All right,
well,
go
ahead.
It's
not his name, but
go ahead and play the video. That's usually the extent of the conversation.
What in the world? What?
Thanks. Attorney General.
I love how he pronounces his stuff. It's so great. He pronounces everyone all the the random words.
Puts the melody, the song. I was like, man, this would be a great song.
He's a music artist actually.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah. So Lebelin.
Lebelin.
This guy's awesome. He's only done 3 of these. He has a ton of other content.
I saw the middle-aged woman drama that was on there.
Oh yeah. This is about some recipe stealing.
Yeah, somebody stole a recipe. It's so ridiculous.
All right, so
this is everything.
This is I love this. So this concludes the Think Fresh Move Forward podcast. We're actually moving this to a weekly podcast now. So we're going to do these once a week. Next week's episode is going to be on Web3 and the metaverse and how we adapt to that whole fiasco of whatever the heck Web3 is, because there's so much confusion on what actually there isn't even a definition, a real defined definition of what Web3 is. So we're going to have a special guest. Aaron just had a baby, so he's going to be out of commission for next week. And we'll have Jim Doyle on. He is an app developer, really well versed as far as in that space, Web 2, and then obviously what Web 3 is. So I think it's going to be a very interesting podcast, and we're also going to be reviewing the Oculus Rift. So I bought one of those, and I'm going to be testing it live here and how that can be utilized in business.
Make sure we don't have any glass around.
Make sure, no drinks or Coca-Cola.
Yeah, spill stuff.
Make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm, because apparently you have to smash it, because if you don't smash it, it doesn't work. because we also said quite a few Chinese words and probably stuff that could be demonetized in YouTube, not like, talking about the Chinese government. So definitely help us out by hitting that like button for the YouTube algorithm. So see you next week.